What's this? Meow. Bow bow. Boop boop. La la la. Ooh. Oh, look! It's a book! Maybe it's a book about pirates with a treasure map. No, I don't think so. I wish that I had seen through all your lies. Oh, start from the beginning, not the middle. And so I decided to pick up my pen to relate the most disturbing episode of my life thus far.
It all began early one morning in 1898, when Sherlock Holmes invited me to accompany him on a visit to the Marquis of Conyngham.
Watson, my dear fellow, we can now go and inform the Marquis that we have found the Samoan necklace, and very much faster than Inspector...
Have you really solved the theft?
I have indeed, Watson, and believe me, it was completely unnecessary to spread out all over London, as our friend Baines thought was best.
After all these years of accompanying you upon your investigations, I thought that by now I should be reasonably capable of following your train of thought.
Ah, you see, but you do not observe, Watson. There lies the difference. It is a matter of course.
A matter of course? In the middle of the night, when everyone is fast asleep, the service bell within that room rings out and alerts the servants. They dress quickly and come running. A few seconds later, the master of the house himself, the robbed Marchioness's husband, the Marquis of Conyngham, arrives and unlocks the door. A fire has started inside the room, but they have managed to arrive in time to put it out. It is at that moment that the Marquis realizes that the famous Samoan necklace, which had been safe within its...
In order to explain, let us confirm my theory before the arrival of Inspector Baines.
This window was cut with a diamond, a clean, discreet piece of work. This is where the necklace was.
All the windows are locked. They've not been forced. A mark undoubtedly made by a diamond. Someone tried to cut the glass, but he was interrupted. Let us examine the crumpled scores that have fallen off the piano. These sooty prints were left by a tiny hand.
I don't understand why these music scores are covered with soot.
Heading towards his chosen escape route, probably the window, the thief knocked over the stool, which then caught fire.
But why didn't he try to... The fire started here, just beneath the bell pull.
Whoever... Strange. There are some objects here that have been knocked over. The chest wasn't opened. The necklace was...
Footprints. You are not going to get on your knees to examine them.
These documents are not very interesting, even though they're addressed to the Minister of Maritime Affairs.
The Marquis himself.
Not very well kept, this aquarium. I can see a dead fish floating. A candle. It must have fallen from the chandelier.
This draft screen makes an ideal hiding place.
As the theft was committed at night, I conclude that the thief hid himself behind the draft screen and waited until he was alone in the room. Strange, there aren't any prints, yet I'm sure that the thief hid here.
When the servants arrived at the door, having been alerted by the bell, they saw evidence of the theft and the fire, but they didn't see the thief.
This door is very hard to force. The Marquis is the only person to have the key. The thief could not get out through here until eventually, when the door was opened by the servants.
Ah, Mr. Holmes, you're already here.
Good morning, Inspector. You've arrived just in time.
Scotland Yard arrives like the cavalry, always in the nick of time. Ah, but I know that satisfied expression, Mr. Holmes. Have you already solved the case?
It's possible.
We have retraced the thief's rather unusual footsteps. He is a true acrobat. But what I cannot understand is that when the servants entered the room, there was no one to be seen. An acrobat, perhaps, but an invisible one.
The only explanation is that the thief escaped before the servants arrived.
Half a point for the doctor, nil for the inspector.
I am pleased to see that you find the situation amusing, Mr. Holmes. Very well, then. Explain.
Dr. Watson was correct when he mentioned acrobatics, but he is mistaken about the nature of the acrobat. As for you, Baines, you're quite incorrect, as the thief was in the room when...
Explain, for heaven's sake, Mr. Holmes.
Watson, how could a thief be missed in the middle of 8 men?
I don't know. Because he is very small?
Exactly. Because he is small and remarkably agile.
You're thinking of a monkey?
And a trained monkey at that. Without a doubt, a Leontopithecus rosalia from Central America. The animal had been hidden inside the room for several hours, calmly awaiting the signal from his master. Once night had fallen and the room was... The monkey emerged from his hiding place and used the point of a diamond to open the glass cabinet and steal the necklace. He headed across to the window by the chimney, but knocked over the stool, which in turn knocked aside the fire guard and started the fire. The frightened monkey jumped from the chimney by swinging from the bell pull, thus alerting the house servants. He then went to the window and began to use his diamond to cut a hole, but was interrupted by the staff trying to gain entry via the door, and he panicked again. He ran across the piano, scattering the music scores onto the floor, before hiding inside the chandelier, knocking over a candle. Finally, the servants and the Marquis entered the room, leaving the door open while they put out the fire. It was during the confusion that our agile little thief made his escape through the doorway.
A brilliant explanation! Bravo, Holmes!
And the necklace?
I can see it from here, my friends. It's right in front of us.
We have searched the room from top to...
Because we paid insufficient attention to the only victim of this affair.
What victim? No one is...
Yes, Watson, a poor goldfish whose destiny was to die, crushed by one of the most precious necklaces in England.
The aquarium is just beneath the chandelier. I understand.
The little monkey had likely hung the necklace around its neck and lost it when he leapt from the chandelier. The jewels fell into the aquarium, where they remain. Marquis, here is your necklace, intact.
Mr. Holmes, this brilliant demonstration does credit to your...
Thank you so much, Marquis. Do you wish to verify the authenticity?
No, I recognize it. I have spent many hours admiring it.
Good. I will return it to its box and...
It's what times?
Sirs, duty calls. My regards, Marquis. And well done again, Mr. Holmes.
There, the necklace is in its box. We've lost enough time here. Let's go.
Ah, very well, as you wish. A good day to you, Marquis.
With pleasure, gentlemen.
This morning's newspaper. Holmes, have you read this article about you?
No, Watson, not yet, and I won't have time to.
Read it before you leave. It's outrageous.
If you insist. Prince Woodville, French culinary expert and bagpipe player, might be our next king. That's not so shocking, might...
You know exactly to which article I'm referring, Holmes. How can...
You know, Watson, that wherever glory walks, jealousy is bound to follow. As for the forgery of the necklace, I suspect that we shall soon be enlightened in this regard. Come in, Inspector Baines, the door's open.
Ah, Mr. Holmes. How did you know I was here?
You are one of our rare visitors who avoids the second-to-last step of the stairs, which creaks dreadfully. And if I add the clinking of the handcuffs at your belt... To what do we owe the pleasure of your visit, Inspector?
Have you read that rag?
Inspector, can you explain this slander?
I don't know how the reporter got hold of the information, but it's true. About the necklace, of course. I wouldn't permit myself to question the...
The necklace is a forgery? Impossible!
Mr. Holmes, the Marquis believes Osmond Farley's theory. I shouldn't be surprised if the reporter isn't behind all this slander about you. In any case, the Marquis assures us that you were the last person to have the necklace.
Let's return to the Marquis's house.
It is unnecessary. Such allegations collapse on their own, like one of Mrs. Hudson's soufflés. Let us leave the police to solve this.
Perhaps you are right, Holmes.
Inspector, I assume that you have the fake necklace with you. It's why you're here. Your superiors would like me...
Indeed. They would like you to confirm or deny putting this fake in the box.
Can't that wait? I must go to the house of Lord Perry... And the Marchioness?
She is beside herself. Without the necklace, her marriage is compromised.
What a lovely man. Holmes, forgive me for insisting, but don't you want to examine the fake jewel?
Watson, I have an appointment, and it's out of the question.
It will only take you a couple of minutes. You really must quell the suspicions put forward in this...
Be my guest.
Very well. This pearl is a different color. This pearl is too small. It is not in its place here. These 3 pearls are of poor quality. Too many defects. This necklace is a fake. This is nothing but a vulgar copy, and at a glance it would appear that the forger has intended for it to be seen as such.
How could we have been fooled by such a blatant imitation?
Yes, how is it possible? Holmes, do you have a theory about this?
I have absolutely no idea. You insisted that I examine the necklace, and I have done so. Now it is important that I keep my appointment.
Holmes.
You may accompany me, Watson, if you care to do so.
Goodbye, gentlemen. I'll keep you informed as to my inquiries.
Goodbye, Inspector. You mentioned a bishop, didn't you? Are we going to his home?
Yes, the Bishop of Knightsbridge. I put his address on our map of London on my desk. Would you...
All right, Holmes. I have found...
Find the address of the bishop?
The police? Already? How did you know?
May we see the Bishop of Knightsbridge?
Yes. Yes, of course. But...
What has happened, Reverend?
What?
I don't know. It was last night, I think. I only just arrived, and I have made this macabre discovery. My God. How horrible. I haven't called anyone. How did you...
Holmes, look!
The bishop, appallingly mutilated.
How dreadful.
Mutilated. And killed. He was such a good man. How could anyone be so brutal? Look at him. He is barely recognizable now. How could any of God's children be responsible for...
They were evidently unworthy children, Reverend. Now do please try to calm yourself and focus, because we will need your assistance. Do you have any idea...
I haven't had time to do an inventory, but nothing appears to have been stolen. And anyway, His Excellency didn't own anything of great value. I don't know what else I can tell...
Note this down, please, Doctor.
Doctor? But you aren't the police?
No, Reverend. I am Sherlock Holmes, and this is Dr. Watson. We are here at the request of...
In that case, I must ask you to leave. And not to touch anything. I must get in touch...
Reverend, when the inspectors of Scotland Yard find themselves at a dead end, which they quite often do, I assure you, then they turn to me for help. If you will allow us to continue our investigation, then you shall have the answers to all of your questions.
Out of the question! I don't even know you! I'm going to call the police, whether you like it or not.
It would be better for everyone, Reverend, if you kept your temper. Watson, are you taking notes? This affair promises to be a complex one, therefore we must not overlook this.
Yes, Holmes. I am keeping a meticulous set of notes. I have created a very clever deduction board. One thing we can be sure of at the moment is that this crime was not for gain. The Reverend has informed us that nothing valuable was stolen, and indeed, it would seem that the Bishop had nothing of any worth to take.
Very good, Watson. Do continue. This stove is filled to overflowing. A bottle of whiskey. I can make out fingerprints stained with blood. The fingers have been crushed and violently struck. The fingers have been crushed and violently struck.
His stomach is covered in scratches, quite evident.
So, these wounds were not made by his murderers.
You can see by his expression that he suffered terribly.
His mouth is covered in blood, and I can make out strips of skin between his teeth.
His chest has been lacerated, I would say, with a very sharp and fine blade. His feet have been burned.
My first impression is that he wears a size 9 shoe.
You? But what does it matter?
A finger. Apparently it doesn't belong to the Bishop of Knightsbridge.
How dreadful. This poor man was tied just below the knees.
To stop him from walking, certainly, but mostly to free his feet.
This poor man was tied...
To stop... These burns are terrible.
My God, Holmes, this man was horrible.
Something is missing here.
Oh, yes? And what?
His shoes. What?
A broken bottle of whiskey. However, the Bishop of Knightsbridge... It would seem that the brutes who tortured the bishop to death were intoxicated with...
There is blood on this paperweight. This paperweight was used to crush the victim. His forearms have been ripped. Pieces of skin have been torn off. What do you think, Watson?
I'd say that he was eaten alive. Yet I've noticed a curious degeneration of the skin tissue.
My dear friend, everything points to this man having gnawed at his own forearm.
That's unbelievable, Holmes.
A piece of rope that was used to tie up that poor man. It's a cilice designed to bruise the person wearing.
A whip?
No, it is a discipline for self-flagellation. This very pious man must have had the habit of mortifying his flesh as a means of repentance. This metal rod is for fastening the chilice. The picture of Peregrine Maitland, commander of the infantry brigade of Her Majesty's Guards at Waterloo.
The bishop.
I need something. Impossible to open it. I need something. Impossible to open it. Reverend, I'm missing something, an implement with which to open this.
No! Go to the devil!
What are you afraid of?
I'm not afraid of anything. In fact, I do have the necessary implement. You have no right to say.
Watch where you're putting your feet, Watson. Have you noticed these prints upon the ground?
Well, yes, those muddy marks.
See here, Watson.
Yes, if you know how to make them talk.
It's child's play, Watson. We will begin by excluding the contaminating prints, which are yours and mine from where we came in, and those of our dear Reverend who was so impatient to call the police. Hobnail boots like those worn by labourers. This print came from an expensive pair of shoes. Hobnail boots like those worn by labourers. Well-worn shoes with an odd pattern on the soles. Hobnail boots like those worn by labourers. This print came from an expensive pair of shoes, and it seems recent. It is not a labourer's shoe. Hobnail boots like those worn by labourers. I need something. Size 9. Size 9.5. Size 9. Size 9. Size 9. Size 9.5. Size 9.5. I need something. That's not right. Start again. That's not right. Start again. That's not right. Start again. Perfect. We now know that there were 3 crooks. That's not right. Start again. Strange but true. One of the crooks was wearing a different pair of shoes when he left him. Therefore, we have 3 men who came in and left again, but one of them was wearing a different pair of shoes from the ones which he came in with.
So, all...
Impossible to open it. A broken phial and blood near the neck.
What a strange smell. Phew, chemical a surgical scalpel. There isn't any doubt. The wounds on the bishop were administered with this scalpel.
closed. The veranda door hasn't been forced. Strange. Reverend, might I have the...
No! You have no authority here. Let me call the police.
Perhaps we should listen to him, Holmes.
Perhaps you should let me get on with this, what... Impossible to open it. Impossible to open it. I need something. Impossible to open it. This stove is filled to impossible to open it. I need something. Let us look at our deduction board, Watson.
To His Excellency's room. There is just a mattress and a stool.
The picture of
The bishop...
the bishop's bedroom. It is very austere. Nothing in particular here. It is impossible to get out. I am missing some information. Impossible to open it. I am missing some information. These traces reveal that the thieves tried to open this chest. Impossible to open it. These traces reveal that I am missing some information.
You have no right to search here.
Perfect. It is evident that the Bishop of Knightsbridge's killers were after something specific, and that they did not find it. Reverend, I shall ask you one more time. Open the chest. The item they were seeking must still be inside. It is unlikely that they will let this matter rest. They will most certainly return to finish what they started.
And I'm telling you once more, the chest is locked and...
Very well. We have reached an impasse. Alone at last. Now I can continue my investigation. Impossible to open it. Impossible to open it. I am missing some information. These traces reveal that the thieves tried to open this chest. This lock should be easy to pick. Let's see. That's not right. Start again. 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 There we are. It is simplicity itself. There isn't anything much in this room. It must be used as a reading or meditation room. This inkwell was tipped over recently. Apparently, someone wanted to hide this statue. An ink stain, quite fresh. This stain is just on the edge of the rug. Let's see. There is nothing on the floor, yet the ink must have soaked through the rug. An ink stain. The ink stain on the floor comes from the ink. This horse resembles a large chess piece. There is a message underneath this statue. This message was written by a woman, but for whom was it intended? Interesting, this chess game. This inkwell with the ink stain. That is curious. There is something strange on the floor. Certain stones have been marked out, just like a chessboard. That is curious. There is something strange on the... I need something. That's not right. Start again. 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 That's not right. This last piece should be the good one. It will have to be pulled free. I need something. A packet of letters addressed to the Reverend. They were written by a woman who mentions his illegitimate children. Their affair isn't official. Perfect. I have you now, my wayward Reverend. Ah, Watson, you were gone a terribly long time, and Inspector Baines isn't with you?
I'm afraid not, Holmes. We were unable to find him.
Dr. Watson would not allow me to contact any inspector other than this Baines. What manner?
My dear Reverend, I notice that you are a chess lover.
You are an expert at chess.
As you might have guessed, resolving your small chess problem has allowed me to discover some...
Letters? What are these?
Reverend, why hide these letters here and run the risk of the bishop finding them?
Holmes, what's in the letters?
Not now, Watson.
Where else could I have hidden them? My own chambers are too...
The contents of the Bishop of Knightsbridge's chest interest me greatly.
Out of the question.
With the bishop no more,
Well,
I am certain...
if I receive new...
I am a gentleman, and it would distress me to be obliged to pass this correspondence across to your superiors.
You say you're a gentleman, but I hear nothing but the words of a black man.
There is blood on...
You have won.
Evidently, as I...
His nephew came to...
Do you know why that...
I don't think so.
Do you know the reason?
No, but the conversation was very heated.
Interesting.
I've answered your questions. Will you now let me...
I'm afraid... All right. Now I can open the chest. Here we are. I am eager to discover what remarkable treasure could justify such an act of barbarity.
Extraordinary.
This chest is impenetrable. How is it possible?
You open the chest with disconcerting...
I've seen and heard quite enough. This time you won't stop me.
Catch him, Watson.
What the...
Run, Watson.
He's escaped. I hope that your motivations are founded, Holmes. I don't much like skirting around the edges of the law like this.
It is annoying. Let's leave without...
What have you found?
The Reverend...
So, we haven't made any headway. Perhaps the police...
By the time the police arrive, we shall be a long way from here.
We have crossed London at a breakneck speed. We could have knocked someone over. And
Watson, stop complaining.